You're now listening to the Wandering Buffalo podcast with your hosts, Andrew Chang and Justin Goddard.
Hello, welcome into another episode of the Wandering Buffalo podcast, a show here on the Buffalo FAMBase network. My name is Andrew Chang, and alongside me is my co-host, Justin Goddard. Guys, we got to talk about the NFL draft. It is literally right around the corner. This episode's dropping on Monday, so Thursday is the first day, I believe, and we would definitely be remiss if we didn't bring in a writer and draft analyst for the Buffalo FAMBase network, the originators of Bills Mafia, our guy, the number one statistician that I know, Dean Kindig. How are you doing, man?
Doing good. A lot of gardening today. We had 75-degree weather, and it's like I don't care if it snows tomorrow. I got a lot done today, and the yard looks neat enough because it's going to be in disrepair for the rest of the week.
Man, I can't wait to be on that level. I literally just had to clean up my mom's entire yard, and it was not fun. So I got more to do tomorrow. So we got our guy Dean on here because we're going to do a little bit of a mock draft, and we don't know how Brandon Beane operates. We can make assumptions. We can take guesses, and I don't want to speak for you, Dean, because you have put together quite the big board, if that's even an accurate description of this document. But I'll let you take it away here. Well, how would you describe this document that we're about to share with the viewers?
So what I did is, and I should say that I get a lot of information from Twitter. And the information is which scouts went where, to whose game, and then from there I'm looking at who was in the game, who did well in the game, who scored, who got a lot of pressures in that game, and have made notes on all of that. This is my hobby. This is an all-consuming hobby. I don't have to go to work. I was a learning disabilities teacher for 44 years. This is my work now, and it keeps me out of trouble. And it's something that everybody should have some purpose, so that you can get up in the morning and go, I know what I'm going to do today. So, it might be about an 1,100 player spreadsheet of all of the players that could be draftable, and I've analyzed what Bill's contact for each one of them is, and that's what you'll see. The color coding is it might be too much, and it'll look like Walt Disney threw up. It's there's a lot of color, but I'll try to walk you through that.
Absolutely. And for those of you listening, we'll obviously just, try to best describe it as we go. But like Dean mentioned, he did a really good job of going through what available information there was for each player that was related to the Buffalo Bills, and watched countless interviews of these individuals. And you said there's roughly 1,100 people. Yeah, so he did that for each person. So this isn't like some, copy pasted document. This took time, effort, and I am this is 100% got my seal of approval. It is well done, Dean.
Well, thank you. Well, I hope to have some fun with it, and information explosion. Get ready.
All right. So let's start up this mock draft. Can both of you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. So we're using the draft network mock draft machine. We're doing 7 rounds. We picked the Bills. We're doing the predictive board, and we're going to start this thing off. All right. I'm going to try to scroll this thing down a little bit. We're seeing some big names off the board. Kyle Hamilton, Derek Stingley, Drake London went early. Oh, that's interesting. Garrett Wilson, Jamison William off the board. Zion Johnson went off the board. And it looks like the Bills are up. So, according to the Draft Network, the Bills' biggest needs as of right now are cornerback, wide receiver, running back, interior offensive line, offensive tackle, tight end, interior defensive line, safety, linebacker, edge, and the fabled quarterback. So
worst case scenario, you have the quarterback up there first, Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, I think we just pick him, right?
That could be really great news, because I'll bet that some of the teams behind us would like a quarterback.
Oh,
and that would be probably one of the easiest things to look at is what team did not get the quarterback that needs a quarterback. So
right. Maybe you look like a team like Detroit. Maybe they move up from 32 to 25 since that guy's available. Maybe they view Kenny Pickett or someone valuable in that position.
That would be great. One of the things that is helpful to know is who has the most picks and the least number of picks. Teams with the least number of picks are Carolina, and if they didn't take Malik Willis, they're going to need a quarterback. Pittsburgh has 7 picks, and they need a quarterback, and would likely be the ones that would most likely pick a quarterback. Other people that might move up for other reasons. I noticed that Devin Lloyd is second there. That's going to be a tough sell to anybody except Dallas. If Dallas didn't pick them, then they have enough picks to move around. So it's very possible that we could arrange a trade with them.
Unfortunately, I don't pay for the premium Draft Network machine, so we don't even have the ability to field trades.
All right.
So unfortunately, we're stuck here.
I do like that. I
really do like that line of thinking, though.
I like that this is a situation that came up off the top of this, because I'm seeing a ton of people talking about let's trade up and go get this guy, all that. It's really difficult to move up in the first round, and I think it's much more likely that we see at pick 25 the Bills trade down and gather some extra assets and be able to move back up in the second, third, fourth round. Much like we've seen, we saw it with Cody Ford, we saw it with Dawson Knox, some of those smaller move ups, because when you're talking about moving up in the first round, it takes a lot to get it done.
Okay. And I think the best way for us to tackle this draft is I'm going to have the first pick, and then we're going to give it to Dean next, and then Justin can be third, and then we'll just kind of keep rotating. So each of us will do our best Brandon Bean impersonation, and then the other two can help support those decisions, or dissuade rather.
That works. That works. Bean said that he was going to be doing simulations this week. I'm hoping that he uses FanSpeak, and that he gets the premium version. I'm just saying.
Yeah, of course. He can afford it.
Yes, he can afford it, and if not, he just goes to, hey Pegs, I need a little extra money for a simulator.
Right.
The next names on that list, I already peeked. There you go.
Yeah, I already have a feeling I know where I'm going with this one, but
Yep.
So I'm thinking about cornerback. So let me just filter just cornerbacks. Okay?
Yep.
So at the top we got Kaiir Elam, Andrew Booth, Kyler Gordon, and then no offense to these other Tariq Wallen, and then no offense to the other guys on this list, it's just I just don't view them personally as first round talent.
Right.
So at this point, I'm going to go over to Dean's Excel sheet. I'm going to filter out just cornerbacks here. Okay. Let's see what we got.
Yep.
So Stingley, Gardner, and then Booth you have ranked 13th. And this is what I really, really like about it, is that you have a Bills contact. Yeah. Brandon Beane. Well, I'll let you kind of explain what this line here says about Andrew Booth and how the Bills contacted him.
So all of the ones that are in green right now are probably prime suspects, and the light blue are the secondary suspects. Beane went to one game, two scouts. There were two other scouted games. They made they went to his pro day, and they saw him at the combine, and he's in for a 30 visit. His interview is in the top tier, and I just have, like A++, A++, A+, and A. There are a couple of B's, but not in your first round. And the other thing to know is that virtually half of the drafted players have been in from the ACC. So if you had to make a distinction there, that would be the distinction. Kyle Elam, as you notice down there, is in the third tier of interviews. Doesn't have quite the interview.
And he's 40 on the big board, right?
Yeah. So he's 40 on the Buffalo FAMBase big board right now. And I'm heartily recommending you go with Andrew Booth here, because it would be what Beane would do, at least in the first round, if these were the choices.
Yeah. And then you look at a guy like Tariq Wallen from UTSA. No Brandon Beane. Combine, they were there. Pro day there. Really good interview, but Brandon Beane's not even on the board with this guy.
Yeah.
So he didn't go to a game. Yeah. And that's usually a sign. There were a couple up there. If you noticed, Derek Stingley, Beane, Shane, both went to the game, and I'm forgetting who Brady was.
That'd be Joe Brady.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is his relationship?
QB's coach.
I think that he had a connection with the Bills.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure which.
Oh, from his LSU Joe? Days.
Is it Joe Brady?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there might be another consideration. If he had gone up to get somebody,
right?
It could be him and Ahmad Gardner. You notice Beane or Shane did not go there. So
yeah. I think personally, for me and Justin, I don't know if you can dissuade me in this particular area, but I'm really gravitating towards Andrew Booth. The only other prospect that kind of draws my attention is Kenyon Green, and we can just look at him real quick. But I am really liking the value of a guy like Andrew Booth.
Well, as you start looking at Kenyon Green here, I'll just kind of say my piece on Andrew Booth. I'll say the last 5-6 mock drafts I've done, I've had Andrew Booth falling to me, and I tried to switch it up and see kind of different scenarios and how things play out for me. When he pops up on my mock draft, I can't say no to Andrew Booth.
Yeah.
The only thing I would really say to counter you is some of those other guys you mentioned, in particular, Tariq Wallen. If we were to, hypothetically trade out of the first round and take our chances on securing him in the second round. I think and we saw on the spreadsheet that Bean hadn't gone to any of his games. He feels like a Brandon Bean pick to me. The
swinging for the fences.
Yeah, the converted position, the having the traits. It's kind of like the high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
It might take a couple of years for him to really pan out, but that, as far as if we're staying here round one, I'm not going to give you an argument away from Andrew Booth.
Andrew Booth it is. All right, moving
the argument,
on.
As you're clicking down to the next one, I will say that it seems that Cromer's archetypal offensive lineman would not be in the 325-pound range.
Some athletic, more athletic.
Yeah, I would think that they would have gone with the Zion Johnson, and then later we'll see some other ones that where they match the height and weight of the archetype that Cromer seems to like. Sean Ryan is a good example. Lecitus Smith is a good example, and even somebody like Cam Jurgens would be, an offensive lineman that they might like.
What do you think about Dylan Parham sitting there in the second?
Whoa, wait, hold on. We gotta this. I forgot who's Brandon Bean in this.
This one's gonna be Dean.
All right, Dean. You. This is your turn to take the wheel. Let me know what you want me to do, and we will best accommodate you.
Okay. So we know that the range of the ones that I just mentioned run from 55 to 105, and then Thayer Munford and Lecitus Smith will probably be that 130 pick, which is our fourth pick. So we're either doing it now or we're doing it in the fourth round. So we can decide that way. Are these the top players on the board?
Yes, I can filter by position if that could help you, but right now looks like the top player on the board is Sam Howell. We're probably not going to do that. Travis Jones, Matt Corral, Isaiah Spiller. Let's see here. Dylan Parham, as Justin just mentioned. Logan Hall, David Bell, John Mechie, Josh Pascal, Isaiah Likely, and then, well, you can read. Oh, and then Calvin Austin at 73.
Right. Well, he's going to go according to his board, and that's what I'm trying to channel here. One thing you should know about Travis Jones: they sent a single scout and never went back. He is top 3 in pressures per game, but the value for that position is either fourth round Neil Farrell or DJ Davidson, if in fact Jordan Davis and Fedarian Mathis are gone. So that would be the defensive line situation there. 2X being there meant that Bean went to 2 different games. That becomes pretty important. That was Phil Mathis, and it was Haskell Garrett, which would be that 130 pick again. If you wanted to save up, right? That would be a good one. The other 2 that they made connections with further down the line, if you think about it, people that could do the one tech would be like Otito Agbania, UCLA guy. There was a scout there. We don't know if it was Bean or not. And then they circled back at the combine. Great interview, and he comes from a winning team. He's more of the gap plugging type, whereas some others that are on there, like Eric Johnson from Missouri State, he actually could be the one tech. I guess what I'm trying to say here is we can wait until the fourth round if we want to wait until the fourth round and see if Farrell Davidson or Agmania is there. But it'd be sure nice to right now to look at what playmakers, because by the way, that's what sells tickets. You know, wide receivers, running backs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, guards are great, but that may not be the one that you choose now. We're in the same situation here. We've got two quarterbacks on there, and you know that Bean would be fielding calls if one of the teams that needs a quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we don't have in this instance, we don't have the.
Well, scroll down. We're going to see who the first player is. Isaiah Spiller, DeMarvin Leal, and Dylan Parham. I'll tell you, here's my thinking on running back versus line. I think that Parham gets you more with one of the later running backs than the other way around. The other way around would be to take your guard at fourth round, and then take Spiller here.
Mm-hmm.
I was so impressed that he was helping at the airport with the luggage carousel, but I'm trying to operate with my brain and not my heart, and I'm pretty sure that Bean's doing the same thing.
I will say Dylan Parham was sticking out to me here, and that kind of what you were just saying. Not to say running backs are a dime a dozen. You hear that all the time. I don't really agree with that. But having an improved offensive line in front of a guy like Singletary, in front of a guy that we might take later in the draft,
definitely helps out a running
back. I think that helps.
Yeah.
Okay, this is very important. Very, very important. There are two Dylan Parhams in the draft. So if we just write down Dylan Parham, we might get the tight end instead of the
this one's the one from Memphis.
just wanted to make that point.
I did not know that.
He played out of position in 2020 as an offensive tackle. He slid back to guard this year, and he's also can play center. I'd start him out at right guard, and that's pretty much a good idea because we don't really know where Saffold is going to play, but
right.
He has played many positions, and Bates would be a perfect 1-year instructor for him. So
all right,
Parham it is.
So that being said, Dean, where would you want your pick to go?
I think he said Parham.
I'm going Parham it is.
All right, I just wanted to confirm because
Leo Chenal is tempting, but I think that I know some linebackers later on that can help us out.
All right, Justin, you are on the board. Isaiah Spiller is off the board at 68.
I was hoping Cam Taylor-Britt was going to make it. I was about to double dip on cornerback.
Ooh.
We'd be moving away from being predictive, taking 2 cornerbacks in the top 3 rounds. But
all right, as pick 89 here approaches, Justin, what do you do?
Okay, so I'm in a position here where I think wide receiver and running back, they're left as the 2 biggest team needs. I'm not sure that the talent is going to match up at this point. There's not really any receivers that intrigue me too much there. I like Romeo Doubs. Could I see the running backs, please?
Yeah. Let's see here. All right. We got Jerome Ford, Jerome Early, McCormick, Davis Price. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was all the way down there. Rashad White, James Cook, Tyler
Those
Beatty.
are available. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Are those the top 3 right there?
Yep.
Okay. I can tell you a couple of things about who you have there. Um, Rashad White was scouted 3 times. He in the scouted game, one of the scouted games, he was 13 carries for 96 yards, 7.4 yards per carry, had a touchdown. And at the time, he led the NCAA in rushing yards per average with 10 yards per attempt.
Mm-hmm.
So that was 7.4 yards per attempt. Javon Hiley was 11.5 yards per attempt. He had the ball 10 times, got 115 yards, including a 70-yard scamper and 2 touchdowns. He's pretty much Breida, 5'9", 190, 432, 40 was his max. But at the combine, he was 4.52 in the 40, which was disappointing because that's the slowest of all of these except Singletary and Moss. And Bean and Hickey went to the Ole Miss game. We'll try to figure out who that was. Ely, Chandler, and Corbin in the actual draft could also be your kick returner. So there's some. Rashad White's one of my favorite players in the draft, and White and Cook are really good at receiving. So you can.
So I'll say before that information you just gave me, I was leaning Rashad White. I think there's kind of a steeper drop off at running back than we usually see at this juncture.
Yeah.
And that pass catching ability that he gives me out of the backfield. I think Singletary is better than a lot of people think, but I'm not fully on board with Zach Moss. And the two of them as receiving running backs, I'm not fully there on. So I'm going to make the pick. It's going to be Rashad White.
Yeah, I like that pick there. According to this big board, he's at 70. We're at pick 89. As Dean mentioned, there's a scout, 3X, combine, Senior Bowl, Pro Bowl. The Bills. He's on the Bills' radar.
They've been keeping an eye on him
for sure.
And keep in mind, they went to Arizona State, and the highest player on the board from Arizona State is Rashad White. That's usually a good sign also.
How do you like his pass-catching ability?
Awesome. He's at 10.6 yards per catch. And Dameon Pierce is the only other one that I would even put in the same ballpark as far as that kind of player. They have almost exactly the same running production at 5.8 yards against AP ranked teams.
You know what I also like about us picking the running back in the third is that Brandon Beane historically picks a running back in the third. So it just, part of me was just like, oh yeah, this guy's definitely sticking out the board, but like Brandon Beane usually does that. So
and maybe it's coincidence.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right, so it's my pick here. Pick 130. I'm Brandon Beane. And we got a Chipotle ad here that I'm gonna get out of. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Let's see. According to this, our biggest needs are wide receiver, offensive tackle, tight end, interior defensive line, safety, linebacker, edge, quarterback. And I gotta say, I am looking real hard. A tight end does kind of stick out to me, but I'm not really liking what I'm seeing according to this big board. Let's
what are the tight ends that are available here?
Tight ends available. We have Jake Ferguson, a name that I will not try to pronounce.
Chig. Just call him Chig Okonkwo.
Yeah. Chig Okonkwo, and Daniel Bellinger?
Bellinger, yeah.
Yeah. So let's move. I don't feel good in that area. We got our interior offensive line. We got the cornerback. We got the running back. Let's see what we got for wide receiver.
Good plan.
Oof. Nothing.
I thought about Romeo in the third.
All right, so if you want to take the if you want to take the field and stretch it lengthwise, you want Bo Melton.
Let's see here. I'm using this is why I'm using Dean's board, because when I'm lost, this is gonna help me.
Yeah.
So let's look at the available wide receivers, because I really do think that with this Bills offense, it is wide receiver centric. We got to keep those wide receivers fresh for our guy Josh. So we're looking for Justin Ross, Romeo Doubs. Let's see those guys. Those are the two biggest guys on the board.
Yep.
I might have passed them, perhaps.
So Dubs I have further down, but I could have him further up. I have him down at 330. Couple of reasons. One, not a great interview. He plays in an air raid scheme. The Bills never went to any of his games.
Mm-hmm.
He's from the Mountain West. We've never drafted from the Mountain West except for Tanner Vallejo.
Yeah.
And his disappointing 4.52 time. I was expecting him to be the speed burner with some size, and that neither came true.
Okay. What about Justin Ross? What can you tell me about him?
Justin Ross. My friend Moose loves any Michigan player,
Okay.
and usually gets very excited about them. Bean went to his games. Two games were scouted at Clemson. They went to the pro day. He's got size. He's from the ACC. The only thing not going for him was the 40 time.
Mm-hmm. I can't seem to find him on your board. I might be.
Yeah, I got him.
Oh,
I got him down at 20. But
118.
Yep.
Justin Ross, Clemson, Bean, 2X's pro day. Oh yeah, look at that. Huh.
So that's not a cross off. Keep in mind you can get a somebody that's considered a burner even in preferred free agency this year.
True. And what was this, a 4.6? What did Gabriel Davis run?
So my comp for Justin Davis is Isaiah Hodgins. And the other thing that I don't like about Ross is that he has the fourth worst yards after catch. And we've been talking about, or at least Bean has been talking about, he calls it rack, or
rack
or something. It doesn't make sense, but yards after reception.
Right.
So I think we could probably do better. That I don't see the Bills taking Ross for that reason. They haven't used Isaiah Hodgins, and he's more fierce in the end zone. So, anyway,
I see Marcus Jones at the top of the board there. I think he'd be kind of. I think he's.
But is he going to come in and be better than Dane Jackson? That's that was a big thing that Brandon Beane said. When he got criticism for not drafting a cornerback earlier in last year's draft. Okay, if we did pick up a cornerback and he doesn't do better than Levi, then we got to ask questions like, hey, why did this earlier draft pick or fourth, fifth, whatever draft pick didn't do as good as Levi Wallace?
So
I'm not trying to fall into that kind of trap.
I'm looking at Booth to be possibly that guy. I would be looking at Marcus Jones to be, we have a team that has pretty much solid players at every position. We have solid depth. I would be looking at him to maybe be like a special teams ace that sticks around a while, can handle some return duties. I don't know if we're there yet.
Yeah, I don't really want to use a fourth for a special teams ace. And when I'm looking at this board, there was one scout there, and that's really it.
that usually means that they that they went to the salad bar, but they didn't spend a lot of time.
Forgot the croutons.
Yes, right.
Let's look at these linebackers. And this is the part of the draft that's hard, right?
No, I like this part.
You like this part? Well, I'm glad you're here.
This is when Dean wakes up.
Yeah. This is what really gets him out of bed.
This is it. Yeah. So linebackers. There you go.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking into there. So we top ones, Jesse
Lukita and Tamarco Jackson from Appalachian State, and then the LSU Damone Clark I actually have pretty high.
Let's see.
So he's the second ranking player at LSU, and Bean and Shane went to the LSU games.
Damone Clark, there he is. You have him at 73. Oh my God. Oh, Bean, Shone, and Brady there.
So I do like that. Everybody says, well, you know,
4-5 linebacker. Okay.
Chanel would be the one that went earlier, and Troy Anderson of Montana State. Disclaimer: that's my son's alma mater. They run a 4.25, and JoJo Doman. They also run a 4.25. The guy I like the most was one that was not scouted by the Bills, and that was Malcolm Rodriguez.
I think I know what I'm gonna do, guys.
Yeah,
and I think I'm actually gonna take Clark here.
Okay.
Which, according to this, I'd be reaching 24 spots, but knowing that Bean, Shone, and Brady were there,
right,
Shone at the time when he was with the Bills, and in addition to the fact that these contracts, we see with Jordan Poyer, everyone wants to get paid, and that just, if anything, that just shows you that Brandon Bean is doing a really good job of getting these players, hitting on draft picks, but unfortunately, we have a salary cap, and not everyone can get paid. Am I basically saying that Tremaine Edmonds is out of the door? No, but we definitely don't have a backup outside of him and Milano because a guy like A.J. Klein was released. We can't rely on, well, the Bills could rely on the other guys, but we shouldn't just be so willing to hand them the backup role. We gotta make a cauldron of competition, and that's where I'm going with that linebacker pick.
I like the pick because he at the time that they went to the game, he was leading the FBS. He had 79 total tackles. He was averaging 11.3 a game, and he's a character guy. Very loyal. He wasn't pointing fingers during the Bo Pelini firing or any of that. And he was backed up behind Devin White. I think he didn't get his chance. So he's hungry, and he's a character guy.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Dick DeGroat, Bill's dad. Now back to the show.
All right, Dean. It is your turn. I am going to show you the overall best players on the big board here from Draft Network. We got Dominique Robinson, Zaquandre White, Haskell Garrett, Jerome Ford, Justin Ross. Is there a specific position that you'd like me to filter out to better assist you, Mr. Bean?
So here's the thing. If we looked at wide receivers, tackles, and tight ends,
okay,
that would be just Ducky.
All right, let's look at wide receivers. Top 3: Justin Ross, Eric
Ezekana,
yep, and Jalen Naylor. Thank you. I need hooked on phonics, I guess.
No.
All right.
Okay.
Tight ends.
So James Mitchell. We need a little more information about James Mitchell.
All right.
So Bean went to Virginia Tech 5 times. He brought in James Mitchell for a 30 visit.
33.
Yeah. he is one of the fastest, if not the fastest tight end, and he plays for the ACC.
Wow.
So there's a couple of good things. One, the other thing is that in the game that they went to see, he had 4 receptions for 103 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Oh my God.
Against then number 8 North Carolina. So 31% of his targets since 2019 have been gains of 15 plus yards. What do you want your tight end to do? You want him to be a playmaker, and you want him to be a better than average blocker at this point.
That was my next question. How is he with blocking? Is he good?
So I gave him a B+ in blocking, and I have about 8 that are better than he. If we wanted to just filter, I can do that over here. I'm filtering out all of the ones that are the best at blocking, and then looking at it here with we probably were looking at the best blocker and the best interview at Trey McBride, but he would have been a trade down in the first round, trade out of the first round, get Detroit's pick, take him. That would be a real good scenario. Jelani Woods, Isaiah Likely, Cade Otton.
Gone.
Yeah, those would be the ones that have the good size and speed.
Yeah.
Watch for McBride and Woods in the draft. It probably would happen day 2.
Right. And so at 168, are you going with your guy James Mitchell here? He's sounded pretty enticing from what you just told me.
You sold me on it.
Let's do it.
James Mitchell?
We're taking James Mitchell because we know we've got a rental in OJ Howard.
Right.
We can always sign up and get OJ Howard for longer if it works out, but that would be a good bet.
I really like that pick too, just because, as you just mentioned, OJ Howard is really here to reset his market. Dawson Knox is really going into a contract year after this one. And then Tommy Sweeney is there, but the drop-off, and this is no offense to Tommy Sweeney, because this man has had to endure a lot in his time in the NFL, but the drop-off from Knox to O.J. Howard and then to Sweeney is massive. And that's something that Brandon Beane is definitely aware of.
Yeah. If you're going to use 12 personnel more after this year,
makes sense. Yeah,
you need somebody in the hopper, and I think that he's a good one for the hopper.
I like that, the hopper.
McBride and Jelani Woods are probably still in the hopper for me.
All right, Justin,
okay.
You are Brandon Beane. It's round 6, 185. What are you doing?
Okay, so first, can you go over to the my picks there so I can just review where we're at with everything?
Oh, yeah. So, just to recap, 25, we took Andrew Booth Jr. 57, we took Dylan Parham. Pick 89, we took Rashad White. 130, Clark.
Yep.
Let's see here. And 168, James Mitchell, tight end.
Okay. So I love the way this draft is shaking up because we're filling some of the like sneaky future needs.
Oh yeah.
Do me a favor and filter out on position there. Slide me over to punter.
I mean, yeah. Okay, fine. Oh, what I do? Safety on accident. You can't use punt god, and I don't believe he's even here.
I don't think he is either. I think he'd probably be sitting right at the top of the board.
Because I know for a fact that punter is not a need, quote unquote, for any team on here. So it's just kind of like if he's there, he wouldn't be there. If that makes any sense.
You know what? That'd be cheating because he's not going to make it to the 6th round.
Yeah.
Regardless.
So career, I actually have him at 203 on my board. So I've got him as our 6B pick a lot. And if we decide not to go for Punt God with his 51.2 career kicks,
Right.
you could always get Ryan Stonehouse, Josh Watts, or Ryan Wright in free agency and save yourself the draft spot.
All right, we're going to save the draft spot. Scroll down that big board for me. There's a guy that was sticking out to me.
What position are you thinking?
Josh Thomas was a guy that's sticking out to me at this point in the draft.
Did I pass him?
Yes, you did.
Oh God. Let me have the mouse.
This is kind of, again...
No, that's a good guess.
Yeah, that's somebody at this point in the draft that I think he could kind of be a developmental talent. That's the kind of guy that, saying that we didn't draft Andrew Booth in this draft, it's the type of guy that I would see being looking at kind of the later in the draft guys. You think about Dane Jackson.
Do you think if he comes in, he automatically challenges Dane Jackson, or do you think...
I don't think so. I think at this point in the draft, you're in the 6th round, you're not really expecting a day one starter. This is kind of more quality depth for me at this point. And that's...
But at the same time, you can't
great
just...
pick. It is a great pick.
You can't necessarily expect... You can't just give Dane Jackson the starting cornerback role too, right? You got to challenge him a little bit, which is why I do like this pick.
Yeah.
If this is your pick here, and especially considering that the Bills contact air scout, Senior Bowl, Pro Bowl day.
It's even better than that. And this is the first time I'm dropping this little nugget.
Ooh.
I also track,
breaking news.
I
Give it to us, Dean.
I also track where the Bills plane goes, and he was in Nacogdoches, Texas. This was after the season, and guess where Josh Thompson lives and trains?
That place.
There you go.
So where the plane was.
Yes.
Yeah.
So where the plane was.
I'm not going to try to produce that.
But you're talking about a talented, serious, productive, learner type guy who's willing to learn anything. That is a great pick, and I was hoping we would get two. The only other guy I like is Donovan West. So, but I won't talk you out of yours.
Yeah, I really do like that pick, Justin, if that's your pick.
Yeah, I think he could come in. He could compete with Dane Jackson. We're talking guys that were drafted in the same round, right? And Dane Jackson's got a year under his belt. Yeah, that's the pick for me.
Justin, I got to say that might be one of my favorite picks of this draft, right next to the tight end pick.
I honestly, when you were scrolling through, his name popped out to me, and you weren't really talking me anywhere else.
That was great. That was great pick.
All right. We're at pick 203 here. Ooh. And I believe it's my turn to be Brandon Beane. All right. And according to this, we need an offensive tackle, interior defensive line, safety, edge, quarterback. Well, we're not...
Wide receiver, right?
Yeah, and wide receiver. So I'm probably not going to filter out too much here.
No.
But let me see. Let me take a look at this, at these wide receivers. Because I still think that we need guys to push some other guys, such as, I'm blanking on his name, face of the franchise.
Isaiah McKenzie.
Yes, McKenzie. And, worst case scenario, we get a guy like this and maybe he can be a punt returner, special teamers. This is where the special teamers, I think.
I agree with you on the pushing the wide receiver depth. And I think if we don't get one of those top guys falling down to us at 25, maybe 57, this round 6, round 7 is where we kind of take a flyer on somebody with some traits.
Wow, you know what? I really, really like this guy, Mike Harley already.
Yep.
Bean, Diaz, Dorsey, Pro Day, A+++ interview. He's not the smallest guy ever. He's I'm only
That's
saying
right.
that because me and him have comparable height and weight. But he runs a 4.43 from the ACC.
Yep.
Who else? Who else
He's
is
Miami
here?
Hurricanes all-time leading receiver. He bench presses 365,
Oh my
425
God.
squat max, and has a 37-inch vertical. So he'd be a powerful receiver. Despite his size, he's got power at the catch point as well as
Good
I
hands.
think he's faster than 4.5
Good hands.
and very good hands.
Wow. So would you say now? I'm just hearing everything that you're saying right now. Do you
Right.
think that he might be? His ceiling would be like a souped up Isaiah McKenzie at his if he reaches his max potential.
Well, he's definitely a slot player. So he's
Mhm.
more of a Beasley than he is. Hey, we don't have Beasley, so
Yeah.
so he's more of a Beasley than he's very experienced ACC player.
Mhm.
His interview shows he's definitely bean material there.
Right.
The only other guy I like this late, as far as bean type of material, is Javon Hiley, and I don't know if you can just filter out the wide receivers and see if he's available, but
I don't think he is. Oh, there he is.
There he is. So he would be another one. Now, Sal Capaccio, he's friends of their family. So that's a good one to know. I have Hiley at 2.
You know what? I
Moving around.
think I got to use my gut here.
Go for it.
I think I like this Mike Harley guy.
Yeah.
I like him. And
you picked him.
And I picked him. And hopefully, I don't know what his, return ability could be. I don't know if he did something like that in college, but worst case scenario, we have someone to challenge the slot, especially since, oh my God, I'm forgetting his name. We just got him from the Jets.
Oh, Crowder.
He's only here for a 1-year deal. McKenzie's only here for 2 years, but that's not to say
Harley.
McKenzie's like a world beater. God, I'm sorry.
Harley did kick return in 2020, and he had a 21.3 yards per return.
That's awesome. And
that's awesome.
Just in addition to what my previous thought was, is that a guy like McKenzie has been benched before. So
that's not bad.
And that's okay, but that should be noted that McKenzie has been, they're not afraid to go away from a guy like McKenzie.
That's right.
And I think that it's good competition again. And I keep coming back to that because I just want this team to be pushed in the best way possible. And the best way to do that, in my personal opinion, is to get the most competition at each position group. That being said, go ahead.
I think what I like about that pick that you just made the most is we still have a guy in Marquez Stevenson in the pipeline too. Mm-hmm. And I think those two pushing each other to be maybe like a fringe roster guy.
Yeah.
You're going to get the best out of both of them. So I like the thought process behind that pick a lot.
Thanks, man.
I mean, his name is not Charleston Rambo, though, which is probably the best name in the draft.
Right. All right, Dean. It is exactly you.
So show me tackles and interior defensive line, because we don't have 3 hog mollies, and that's my requirement.
All right.
We have to have 3. So Andrew Stuber would be a really good pick there. They went to 5 Michigan games. They run like a spread option there. He's a big dude, and he's not a fast dude. So, but he's not one of those Cromer archetype guys like some of the other ones are.
Right.
Is Cordell Volson? One of
I
the.
believe I saw him go
Okay.
somewhere around round
Okay.
5.
Specifically with tackles.
So Stuber and I think Obina as a let me look. Nope, they didn't scout him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very possible that they don't do anything at offensive tackle, and they get somebody that has been accessed after the draft.
Right.
There's some good guys later that fit that Cromer archetype. For instance, the Alonzo Velasquez, which is he's from Wyoming, so that's a possibility, and he's sub 5-second speed. So we could get something after the draft, is what I'm getting at.
Right.
Now Leon O'Neal rings a bell.
Leon
Christopher
O'Neal.
Allen is from Alabama, and that doesn't hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But O'Neal, what was I thinking? Oh, okay. So he runs in a 4.5. Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
Jet made a trip to A&M after he's a worker. Yeah, I'm not sure why he even went to Texas A&M, because he got offers from a lot of other schools. Did Brad Hawkins make the cut? Is he further down there?
Let's see.
Oh, well, Bubba Bolden did. That's
Bubba Bolden
got
did,
him-
but I
I've
don't
got
see
him
anyone
higher.
else.
and Gemmel. If you wanted a linebacker that's outside, no, he did inside. Never mind. I think we may have to just get BPA here. It's either Christopher Allen,
Well, I know where I would go,
Kanye Thomas.
but I
What
don't
are you
want to
thinking?
sway you too hard. I think we go safety. That's safety out of Texas A&M. And the reason why I'm saying this, and I don't want to sound like a broken record here, is because we don't know what the status is with Jordan Poyer and this whole situation. And not to mention, Micah Hyde is getting up there, but hey, I mean,
Wanye Thomas he's 6'2", 217, and
big boy.
he's the number one prospect at Georgia Tech, and they went to his pro day. So that maybe they were looking further down. There are other ones that aren't on there.
What do you think, Justin?
I would personally co-sign on safety. I think this is safety's a nice position to have for guys that contribute on special teams as gunners, as coverage guys. And we're talking a guy that, will he even make the roster? We'll see.
Yeah.
But if they do, the athleticism usually from a safety is going to be able to contribute in more than one way on special teams. So I like that as a final pick in the draft, but this one's Dean's.
And here's one other thing to think about, is that there are still 8 safeties that will be undrafted or probably will be undrafted that have played in the 4-2-5 that the Bills run. So that's a something to think about, is that they went to a few pro days. Players like Elijah Hicks of California, Quantrez Knight, Wanye Thomas. We just saw his name up there. And he's the best player at Georgia Tech. So my recommendation would either be to hit the safety there, or try to get one of your gap plugging one techs. And I don't think they separate them out on TV.
No, they don't.
But I can tell you who you'd be looking for if you wanted to go in that direction. Down at that end would be Marquand McCall, Jonathan Ford, DJ Davidson might be there. And some of them are still top 5 in pressures per game.
Doesn't look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, it would either be Bubba Bolden or Wanye Thomas safety, and you guys can break the tie if you want. They've got Wanye listed higher.
Okay.
I'm not as convinced that
Justin?
It would be Leon O'Neal.
Who do you want to break?
Dean has talked me into Wanye Thomas if we're going safety, so I like that.
Wanye Thomas? Is that cool with you, Dean?
Go for it.
All right. That looks like it wraps up our draft, unless I'm mistaken here, and the Bills are picking again.
We did a draft there.
We are not. Oh, God, I just screwed up, and we just lost all that.
Yeah, right. Well, Well,
now we're on Dick's Sporting Goods.
All right. That's cool.
Technical
that is
errors.
unfortunate.
That's cool, though.
But
That's
no,
cool, though.
I really think. Yeah, I'll stop sharing screen here because we got our picks here.
Well, thanks. That's good. That was a good experience because that Bean and his henchmen are doing exactly that this week.
Yeah.
You're releasing this on Monday. I bet you they will cover every eventuality between now and Thursday night.
Right.
So that it all becomes like a piece of cake. The hard work is being done now.
Mm-hmm. I think what I really like about this draft, and let's just talk really quick about what we like, and then we'll kind of what we didn't like, and then we'll wrap up here. What I like about this draft is that we answered a lot of depth questions. Personally, I think we pushed a lot in terms of our depth to get the most out of our players, and we got that high drafted cornerback that I know a lot of Bills Mafia is pounding the table for, and I think we got a real good one with Andrew Booth in our first pick. One thing that I didn't like about this draft was I ideally wanted to take a really nice wide receiver, maybe in the second or the third, but it didn't really. The ball didn't bounce our way, and what we're gonna do here is we'll have Jake, our producer, post up our picks here since I goofed the ball up and we weren't able to.
You're gonna make him watch the whole thing.
Yeah, we'll make him watch the whole thing, so then he'll be just in tune as you. But yeah, so one thing. So anyways, one thing I liked pushing the depth. The thing I didn't like was probably the fact that we didn't get a wide receiver earlier. But, I'm very, very satisfied with this draft, and we answered a lot of questions. Justin?
I agree with you pretty much 100%. I've been doing a lot of mock drafts, and I've kind of fallen in love with the idea of getting like a really flashy wide receiver, rounds 1 or 2. It's a fun, sexy pick. But the way the board was shaking out, it wasn't really there. I do like that we had the double dip on the cornerback position, kind of one that could be an instant impact starter and one that could kind of push the depth and be a reliable depth piece and kind of maybe move into a starting role going forward. And then picking up a nice running back in the third round, it kind of sticks with the Bean draft philosophy of running backs in the third. Again, pushing the guys that we have and just giving more options there. So overall,
right.
I would sign up for this draft today. I think there's going to be some trades that we don't know about yet, but overall pretty satisfied.
Yeah,
I agree. Dean?
3 hog mollies. That's number one. We got 3 guys in the trenches. I think that helps Rashad White. It helps Josh Allen get to his third read. So that's awesome. We probably got a lesser known wide receiver, but one that can stretch the field. Mm-hmm. And another thing I liked was that we hit all of them were either A+++ interviews or A++ interviews. So that would be, those would be the things that I like the most. High character guys that are going to fit in with the merry band that we have at One Bills Drive.
So you think they're going to fit in right in this locker room? Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I really do.
That's what I was listening for when I listened to 700 interviews. So.
Yeah. Of what's available.
Right.
Well, anyways, guys, that was a great episode. And, Dean, thank you so much for being a part of this. Why don't you tell the viewers and listeners where they can find you and your work and your crazy mad scientists like?
Well, the easiest way is my at TC Bills Astro right there. On Twitter, because I spend most of my life on Twitter. Just ask my wife. And the other place is Buffalo FAMBase.com with the M, FAMBase. Right. And I'm writing stuff there. But ask me nicely, and if you've got to this part of the podcast, ask me nicely. I'll probably share my spreadsheets with you. They're absolutely useless after Saturday.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for doing this, Andrew.
No, thank you for being a part of our podcast. And that being said, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and review our podcast. It means the world to us. And you can always find us on most social media and podcasting platforms, and even on YouTube by searching up the Wandering Buffalo Podcast. You can find me by searching up Two Changs. Justin, where can the people find you?
You can still find me at jgods22.
And as always,
go Bills.